Today I want to talk about The Curse of the Emerald Sea, which is a swashbuckling setting for Knave, but it works with any old school system. I'm not even at all familiar with Knave. But this is an old school module, and there was another one called Weird Beneath the Waves, which is really good, but unfortunately I'm not able to get a hard copy of it, and it's hard for me to comprehend things in electronic copy. I need a hard copy, and this is simple enough I was able to print myself out a copy of it. And so that's what I did. So, there's an introduction about this. My group plays Lamentations of the Flame Princes, which takes place in 17th century Earth, the era of Pirates of the Caribbean, but there's no Pirates of the Caribbean module or book available for that game. So our players wanted to do something like that, and this was a good way to do that. It's really easy to use. It has a setting which is cut off from the rest of the world. It's the Emerald Sea, and there's different factions. 4.5 different factions. Port Emerald is like a Navy port town. Monkey Spine Island is inhabited by the natives and the outsiders. The outsiders are people from elsewhere, basically, who are not part of the Navy. They're not, they're none of the above outsiders, basically. Pirates Cove, of course, is a Pirates Cove, and Coral Reef Lagoon is a tourist trap. So the outsiders are people who don't fit any of, they're not natives, and they don't fit any of the other groups. They're not in the Navy, they're not pirates, and they don't work for the tourist industry. So there's something called the Shroud, which keeps this cut off from the rest of the world, and some little backstory about the Three and the Witch and Monkey Skull Island and vanquishing the Shroud. But for the most part, you're just wandering around the sea. And so for every 8-hour span, you roll on this table here. And the result goes to subtables. You also roll for weather. So here's the weather chart. The weather chart there. And if it comes up storm, then you roll again on this chart. I never could work out the navigation system here. I tried that a little bit and just gave up on that and just had them unable to navigate until, let's say, hit land. So this chart here, it has Leviathan, Open Sea, Ship, Island. So there are subtables for that. So here's the subtable for the Open Sea, which is, if you get Open Sea, you roll in here, and that leads you to one of these subtables here, or one of these here, including their sea treasure and sea creatures. Ship could be something you could roll, and you roll on the first chart for what kind of ship, what's their motivation, and what kind of events going on, and based on what you're doing, then one of these subtables would be rolled on. Oddity, Outsiders, Pirates Cove, Coral Reef Lagoon, Monkey Spine Island, Port Emerald, Ship Treasure, Floating Market. Or you could roll an island. So the island chart's really simple. Uninhabited island or a settlement. If it's uninhabited, you go to the second chart. If it's a settlement, it's settled by one of these 4 groups, and each group has its own subtable. Sorry, take that back. No, it doesn't have its own subtable. Then you go to other pages. But if there's treasure on the island, here it is. And if there's creatures, there they are. That's mostly for uninhabited islands, though. So, islands. There's Monkey Spine Island, which is where the natives live. And you have some NPCs and locations on Monkey Spine Island. It's a mixture of the natives and outsiders who don't fit into any of the other groups. Coral Reef Lagoon is a resort, and I really played up the similarities to Fantasy Island when I did that. Here's some NPCs. Ruth Thomas became my Mr. Rourke. And he even had a tattoo. Okay, there's Pirates Cove with the NPCs that are there. In a lot of these NPCs, if you meet them, they'll give you a quest. And Port Emerald is a Navy fort with a bunch of NPCs for there. Okay, one of the things you can come up with is Leviathan. And that's just a big creature that smashes your ship. And if you fulfill the major quests, the overquests for the whole thing, then you might find Monkey Skull Island. It's hidden. And here's some random tables for treasure and some names, some NPCs as far as what they do, occupation, behavior, looks, some ships, what kind of ship is it, what's its name, a bestiary for all the creatures you might run into. Here's a map of the Emerald Sea area. It's very, very simple. And if you're playing at the table, you can use these hexes. You can lay these things down on your hex grid. Now here's a quick reference to show you what else there is, or to keep you from having to flip through too much of the rest of the book. So it's really simple. It's not that big. It's 32 pages, so it's really easy to print this thing out and have it at the table. I highly recommend this. The players thought it was a lot of fun.